What's up, fight fans? I'm Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, and this is Cage Side Seat on MMA Weekly, bringing you the best MMA talk with the biggest names in the sport from the best seat in the house on MMA's most trusted source for news and entertainment for almost 20 years, MMA Weekly. I'm in my home state, right outside the arena at UFC 263, and here making an appearance at McFadden's Glendale, coming in on his way into the arena, stopping by is the one and only Brian T-City Ortega. And dude, you are literally, I'm inspired by you, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, but the road that you've taken to come right back, it didn't take you long. You took some time off. You come out and you really do well against the Korean Zombie, maybe your best fight to date. And here you are with the title shot against Alexander Volkanovski. But not only that, you're coaching the Ultimate Fighter, getting all that exposure, and the kid from LA just keeps on coming up.
I mean, it's, I don't know, man. It's a crazy journey. You know, it's a crazy journey, and I just take it day by day. And that last, at least the title fight, really shaped things up for me as in terms of how I train, how I go about things. And last fight, it showed that I improved my game. And now we get to fight the champ.
And you get the added bonus of being around him a lot while you shot the Ultimate Fighter. So as a competitor, I know you're always looking for something, some sort of advantage. While you were filming the show, did you see anything about him or anything in his personality that you could exploit mentally or anything at all?
Of course. There's always things that you see about these guys. Their strategies, the way they move, the way their coaches move. Obviously seeing him every day, twice a day sometimes. You get to size him up a little bit better. And try not to let his little ass get under your skin, you know. But it was, it was interesting.
On your way to the top, you got the title fight against Max Holloway. You pretty much dominated everybody. You know, great career so far. Max Holloway, an all-time great champion. Alexander Volkanovski's beaten him twice. Took a lot of punishment in doing it. What did you learn from Max's fights against him, and then on the heels of your fight against Max, taking that into this one?
Well, I mean, I took things from both sides. If you look at it, you know, I look at Max's how he kind of kept the same pace and the same routine that he always has. And then I looked at Vokanovski and the different strategies that he did as in terms of how to win the rounds, how to manipulate the judges' right decisions when it comes to being in there, right? You go in there and how do you win rounds? That's something that hasn't been really a big factor for neither Max's and I career. We are two people who fight for the finish. And then when you take a guy who like Vokanovski, who's a decision fighter, then you go, okay, this guy's looking for the decision. Now, there's no. If he gets a finish, he'll take it. But that's not his go-to. So the main thing was, all right, study Max, see what he did wrong. What can you take from Vokanovski that you can do to him? And then look at Max and say, what did Volkanovski do to him that you don't want to do because you're in some room, the same type of mentality where you go in there and you want to finish guys. I don't play the decision game. I go in there and I get in your face and I want to bang it out and see which man's will breaks. But there's levels to this game, and you got to realize you have to dance according to the music. And that's who you're fighting, you know? You got to look at the way they move, the way they fight, and you have to beat the way they fight. And sometimes it's possible that you don't get a finish because you have to fight so smart. It's such a high-level chess game that you can't bring that side out of you. That's why I've been looking at other fights outside of my range, talking shit to, other people and seeing if I can get fights like that.
Henry Cejudo just told me the same thing. I only want to fight people who people think I can't beat. And there's something to that as a competitor. But, you proved me wrong your last time out. Your last time out, I was thinking, man, jiu-jitsu is going to be the difference against the Korean Zombie. You went in and you came out with the bald head. I'm like, uh-oh, here he comes, right? And you came out and you just beat him up. I mean, everybody thought it would be jiu-jitsu. You always have that. And against a guy like Volkanovski, that could be a big part. Max doesn't have that. And then you on the feet. But it's just you've become such a well-rounded fighter. You feel like you can beat him anywhere.
And that's the name of the game, man. I've always said this. I said if you're gonna go to war with me, you're kind of fucked because you have to choose your poison. If you want to go to the ground, we can go to the ground, no problem. If you want to stand up and bang, we can stand up and bang, no problem. But then I stood up and banged and I got my ass whooped. So then it was like, all right, let's get better at banging. I can do jiu-jitsu forever. I have no problem with that. So now it was the striking aspect that I have to get better and how to perfect, and that's what I did. And I showcased that against the fight with Korean Zombie. And ever since that fight, my game has still been evolving, bringing different elements into it, and I'm actually having fun mixing the arts together now. I was always like, just almost like Nate Diaz style. I was always one-track minded, like I'm gonna bang with everyone, and if you go to the ground, we go to the ground. And it brought me great success. But if I want to be that guy, that champion, that high-level guy, I got to do that type of training, and that's where it's at.
You've talked a lot about the things you learned in your time off, but for anybody out there who's struggling in life, or maybe you have to take a step back every once in a while to realize that ultimate dream, maybe we have to take a painful loss. And I know that killed you after that fight, and it was just devastating for you, but you didn't quit. You're a G till the end. You went out on your shield. Nothing there, no surprise there from you, but how much have you learned since then? I mean, the win against Korean Zombie, a completely different level for you, but you changed your team, you changed your approach, you changed everything, bro. So to be at that level, it takes a lot of guts to make such wholesale changes based on one loss. What was the determining process behind that? And then how about now moving forward? How much better are you getting day by day moving toward this fight?
Well, things were already at a point where I wanted to make changes in my career. But because fights were happening back to back, and I'll be honest with you, I hate having hard conversations. When it's like, hey, I gotta fire you, or hey, I'm not happy.
It sucks.
I hate having those conversations. I don't even know how to bring it up. So when I lost, and these guys would do some things that I thought were not right, you know, the way they would talk to me or the way they would even handle that situation, I go, dude, you just made this a lot easier for me to have this hard conversation. Because here I was not wanting to hurt your feelings, but then you're hurting my feelings, so I was like, yo, let's do it. So I think if you're going through any hardship, whatever, you do have to take a step back, and you do have to see what changes you have to make in life. What do you need, and how, like, what do you need, how are you gonna get it, how are you gonna make it better? You have to come up with a whole game plan on your future, and that's what I did. I had these hard conversations, left some people behind, and in the end, just let them know, like, this was all just for evolution of who I'm becoming. And it's hard because you grew up with these people. These guys have seen you from when you had no money to some success. So you almost feel like you're turning your back on your family. And they're just hard conversations that you have to have, you know? But once I made those choices and realized that it's a career, it's a job. You don't take a sledgehammer to go mow lawns. You take a lawnmower. Hey, sledgehammer, we're not in that demolition right now. We're lawnmower, right? Like, my metaphors are weird, but it's like you had to take the right tools to get the right job done. And ultimately, that's what I had to do.
That's Brian Ortega. Well, your tools aren't limited to what you do in the Octagon. Look, he's got the movie star looks. You got the commercials going. You have a big-time life and a big-time business career building and growing, and you're not even sweating. It's 110 degrees in Arizona. I don't know how this is possible. I live here and I'm sweating, but you have everything in the world open to you outside of the Octagon. So how great is it for you to be right here, right now with the UFC? It's worth $10 billion now. ESPN, now that you're an Ultimate Fighter coach, that stock and that star just keeps on rising, dude.
I'm in a great position right now. I'm in a great position. I have a lot of TV time that I'm going to be getting soon. The fights, the outside things, I'm landing a lot of movie roles and things like that. Being in LA, Hollywood, that helps. And I'm just fucking running with it, dude. I'm just running with it. There, opportunities present itself, I take them. Even if I don't feel like I'm actor material, whatever, I say, fuck it, I'm gonna do my best and make it happen. And so far we're 2 movies in.
And you know what? If someone else thinks you are and they're paying you to do it, it almost doesn't matter what you think. And I saw a great quote the other day, T-City, and I'm all about inspiring people. All I want to do is take the greatness from you guys and pull that out for all the audience to watch that. And who people are going through things. We had the pandemic, we had all that, but just to see you come back the way that you did and to see the things that you're doing in your life, a kid from LA, didn't have anything growing up, you're making movies now. I mean, it's just one of those things that everyone loves that story, but it's so different when you're actually living it, and you have a small window. So make no mistake about it, right? None of that happens without the fighting, and you got this title fight coming up. So talk to me about Alexander Volkanovski. What have you seen from him? How do you think you can beat him? And what is it that's going to happen to take place for you to get that arm raised and walk out of the belt that night?
Without giving away too much, it's just looking at the patterns of movements that he has, the way he goes about fights. They're very strong in the way they make game plans. Very strong in the way he makes game plans. I've studied. I was in this show for 7 weeks where we would see each other, and you start seeing the evolution of their guys from the first weeks that we were on the show to the end to how these guys have evolved. And when you look at these guys fight, you go, man, they're not that special. But then when you see them get coached by his team, you start realizing patterns. And ultimately, it's all pattern recognition. And as long as I can recognize every pattern that he has, try to figure out the best of my ability, how I would beat me with a good game plan using their mindset, and then counter it. Basically, that's the goal, you know, and seeing how we can use what we have to our advantage and make him fight my fight. Make him dance the way I want him to dance.
You've said that a couple times, dance the way that you make you want to dance. And I know Max Holloway probably be waiting in the wings. He's got a tough fight coming up also, but he wins that, you win this. I would imagine you'd probably be licking your chops to avenge that one.
100%. 100%. That fight, I win the belt. First fight is Max.
He's a great champion, too. I mean, obviously, you're a great fighter, and that's got to be something for you to come full circle. Last one for Brian Ortega, T-City here at UFC 263, right outside the arena in Glendale at McFadden's on MMA Weekly. Dude, I do this with every fighter. You got a big fan base out there, a lot of people, and it's growing every day. We talked about that. What would you like to say to them, the people who support you right now?
Thank you guys for all the support. And fighters are not gonna go anywhere in life if it's not for you guys supporting them, cheering them on, helping their fan base grow, so our value goes up. And I appreciate every single one of you, from everyone who loves me down to everyone who hates me. And I'm just thankful, man. I'm so thankful that I have a huge following, and if I had to weigh it, it's mostly good than bad. You know, I given my stupid mistakes. Thank you for sticking with me through my stupid mistakes, and I appreciate all you guys.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking some time coming to Arizona. I know it's hot, and you got a lot going on with UFC 263 here. The title fight coming up against Alexander Volkanovski. Make sure you keep checking out The Ultimate Fighter, Team T-City, right here with Brian Ortega on MMA Weekly with Cage Side Seat, the best MMA talk with the biggest names in the sport, from the best seat in the house on the most trusted source, news and entertainment and mixed martial arts for almost 20 years. MMA Weekly. Guys, keep your game tight and your mind right. We're out.